It's
I'll
actually my
just,
morning break. I'm in
oh,
Las
right, right.
Vegas.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, good morning.
Hmm.
So I'll give a quick little intro and then we're going to jump into this book today, which I'm really excited about. Amazing. I will also link it in the show notes.
Thank you.
So today I am joined by Eli Weinstein, a licensed therapist, relationship expert, and author of From I Do to We Do, a book about what really happens to marriage once real life, parenting, and pressure enter the picture, and how couples stay connected through it. Eli Weinstein, welcome to Cake for Dinner.
Hey, you know what? I've never had cake for dinner, but it sounds delicious. Breakfast for dinner. Why not cake for dinner? I love it. It
Yes.
sounds delicious.
The idea around cake for dinner is about life pivots.
Mm.
Sometimes things don't go as planned, and you do really dig into that. So if you're okay with it, I'd like to jump right into the book.
Hey, let's go. I just spilled tea all over the floor in the kitchen, and I had to pivot to get in the headspace. Things happen.
Things
I didn't lose
happen.
my mind. Everyone's okay.
Well, I think the first question would be, why did you write the book?
Because I was asked to by Wiley, and I never thought I was going to write a book. Always a dream to write a book.
Hmm. Hmm.
Never thought it would be an opportunity. And when Wiley asked, we had a multiple of lists of ideas. Dad book, nixed because men don't buy books. And it was then talking about the idea of what I see every day. And I went, oh
Hmm.
my gosh, I have two kids. Now I have a third on the way. And, I'm in this struggle and I work with so many people in the same struggle. That would be a great idea for a book to be a personal kind of like I'm in it with you, but maybe I have different perspectives because I work with people who are doing this from a professional perspective, but also a
Yes.
personal perspective, and combine the two. And I went, okay, let's go for it.
I love this, Eli, because this is a big, big, big topic.
I
I
think it's
work
the
with
only book, by
couples.
the way, only book out there right now. I'm not joking. I'm not saying this because it's my book. When we were doing research for the book, like proposal, you
Sure.
have to like write why the
Yep.
book is important. I was looking up, I think there's maybe one or two in the history of books in nonfiction world that is a relationship book, a marriage book for parents with a lens about parenting as well. It's the crossover book that has never existed,
Which is so
which is
crazy
mind blowing.
because, right, because this is such a thing. I mean,
Yeah.
it really is.
Relationship books don't talk about what it's like when you're a parent, and parenting books
Yes,
deal with you and your kids, not you and your partner. So
right.
this is the whole point. Hopefully, people pick up on it. But it's the crossover book that never existed because to me, how could you not talk about your relationship when you're talking about parenting? And how could you not talk about parenting when you
Right.
talk about a relationship when you have kids in the mix?
I don't know if you know, but we own an adolescent treatment facility and I work with parents and it's a huge problem, especially when you have a teen that's
Yeah.
struggling.
Uh-huh.
It's very and from personal experience, that's a tough road. So
Yeah.
your title from I do to we do is so relatable because every couple or most couples say I do. But very few are prepared for what we do actually means. What does that shift really look like in everyday life, as far as you
Oh,
see?
this is the first time I was asked this. I've been doing like a podcast media stuff the
Hmm.
last couple of weeks. It's why my voice is a little shaky this morning. Also, my kids are, germ monsters. So
Yes.
why not spread it to me? Um, the idea of we do is a commitment to teamwork. It's not a commitment to perfection. It's not a commitment to we have it all figured out. It's that we will figure it out together and that
Mhm.
you matter, I matter, and we matter. It doesn't become this individual. When you look at the word of I do, I is an individual choice. I am choosing to be with you in
Mhm.
sickness and in health and all those wonderful things. But we is now the unit where the individuals exist amongst that unit. So both of you matter, but how do we make it that we also, the team, can figure out how to go forward versus being enemies? The example I give, not in the book, but now that I'm doing the media stuff, I wish I could go back and add things to the book. Can't do it, but maybe second edition, third edition, or second book. Who knows? But the idea is like you would never, ever see a team of a sport, any sport you like, have two teammates fighting so aggressively in the locker room do well on the court. They would
Hmm.
never be able to. You even have stories of Michael Jordan having a team meeting in his house putting it all out there so that they can get
Right.
their crap out of the way so they can be a cohesive team when the game was on the line. That is the we promise. That's the we commitment. When it's on the line, are we going to have each other's back, or are we going to turn against each other and start attacking each other and ripping everything apart that is so beautiful and so magical?
And if you want to stick with that analogy, kids are a full court press. I mean,
Oh
there's
my gosh.
there there's
100%. You think
there's
it's
no
one to
escaping
one.
it.
You think now I'm going to be outnumbered. Right now, I have two kids, one to
Yes.
one defense. When the third one comes, it's zone. We're just going to figure it out and go, who's going where? Let's see if we can make it work. But that
Yes.
means, but see, the idea is let's see if we make it work. Not,
Mm.
I'll figure it out. You suck. Or, you know what? You're go over there. I'm not helping. Right? It's not this individualized mentality. It is a we cohesive unit that has bumps, that has struggles, but there is a better flow and idea of what it means to work together without killing each other, which was going to be the title of the book. And the publishing company said, no killing in the title. I went, come on.
I actually love the title. So in your practice, what is the most common struggle couples bring in once they've moved from being partners to also being parents, workers, and managing the household?
I think it's the idea of how they communicate their needs and their priorities that they feel like they are seen and respected.
Mm.
Right. So if I feel that you are getting the spotlight and I'm not, or that your things matter more than mine, right? I work with couples where it's like, well, we were having an argument and he got the spotlight and it was just like him, and it never got to what I was struggling with. And
Hmm.
in the beginning of stages where things are shifting so fast, so aggressively, at such a high speed, it's very easy to get lost in the shuffle of everything. That's why when I talk about the book about my wife's postpartum, as a therapist, I was so locked in on her to make sure she was okay because she was taking care of the baby. I didn't focus on myself. I had massive panic attacks and really like opened my eyes to the individual care that needs to happen. But where do you fit it in is the argument. Where do you matter? Where do you prioritize your needs and how do you communicate them without the other person going,
Hmm.
but what about me? Again, not
Right.
a competition. They both can exist. How do we prioritize and put them in rotation? How do we give space and time for everyone to get their spotlight, for everyone to get their attention, for everyone to get their needs met in a healthy way? And the biggest struggle that couples have is communicating them and then putting that into implementation and making it a reality.
It blows my mind that there's no other books about this because if you think about how much money is spent on, the business world or going to conferences and having all of these strategies on how to make a
Industrial
business
psychology
success. Yeah, but then
is
it's
a
like
whole thing.
our homes, our
Hmm.
marriages, and this is such an important transition going from I do to we do. I mean,
Yeah.
it really is. And it's also something that's foreign because you've never had the children before. So you're moving
Yeah.
into uncharted territory, if you will.
Yeah, and this is not about, and the book again is secretly like 80% a relationship book for anyone and everyone about to have kids, thinking about kids, talking about kids, or even in the thick of it. But it's 20% within the lens that if you happen to have a kids and you're a parent, the conversations, the stories, the relatable content is the idea of people who have kids. And a lot of these things are basic relationship stuff. I quote Gottman, I quote other people, but I put it within the lens of, by the way, the joke I put in the book, it was a footnote. I wanted it to be a bigger part in the book, and the publishers were like, "No, make this a footnote." I don't know what I'm doing. I've never written a book. The idea of if we made a competition show, and made it like Survivor, but you like made people not sleep for a couple of days, and then put them in like half lit rooms to do minimal tasks without waking the baby, that would be what parenting is like in the beginning, where you're like, don't wake the baby, right? And you're being
Right.
so careful, but you're also falling on your face and you're also trying to have each other's back, but you're also struggling yourself. No one can tell you that because each child and each parent unit deals with that differently. It's not just like, hey, sleep is gonna, suck. Yes, it is. We all know that. Okay, thank you. But how is it going to work with the dynamic? How am I going to deal with my partner? Do I want to kill them? Am I going to be supportive? Am I going to be kind? We don't talk about that stuff because we don't know how this kid is going to be.
Hmm.
My daughter screwed us over. She slept really well. Great
Oh,
baby,
the
didn't
kiss of
nap.
death. And then you
I
thought it was
know.
your parenting.
Yeah, we're like, oh, we're amazing. And it still shook us because we didn't know how to deal with the change
Hmm.
of the dynamic of the home. Well, then my second son came around, and my son came around, and it was like, oh, we got the communication part right, but boy, did he crush us with lack of sleep, with hour to 2 hours every, every night. So it was a different challenge. But we
Sure.
worked on the communication part because we struggled so hard with my daughter on how to get our needs met, talk about it without feeling offended,
Hmm.
personalizing a comment and making it worse than it is by just saying, hey, are those diapers dirty? Can I throw them out? And go, whoa, whoa, whoa. I didn't make the mess. Don't you put this on me. I didn't say that, right? Like, oh, the dishes
Right.
are dirty. So do it. Whoa, why are you yelling at me? I'm just,
Right.
I'm just like talk. So that stuff was the stuff that got worked out with my first child, and the second child, it was the physical, soul sucking struggle of the lack of sleep.
It makes
And now I
total
want to have a
sense.
third kid for some reason.
I have three also.
Yeah, I love it.
Um,
I love it.
so a lot of couples assume conflict means something is wrong, but your book suggests conflict is often normal. What are people misunderstanding about healthy conflict?
Yeah. So conflict is the joke I say is that at least you're communicating and talking. You're just talking loudly, right? When people stop having conflict and avoiding each other and hiding from each other and not communicating softly, loudly, big, that is where the problems lie, is when we stop communicating, when we
Hmm.
stop talking to each other, because we're not making each other aware of each other's inner space, what goes underneath that we don't see. It's not obvious to us. We're at a different vantage point than our partner. So
Hmm.
conflict is very healthy. Why? You have two people who are very different in how they handle stress, how what their background is like, what their culture and family structuring is like. So of course you're going to butt heads. The unhealthy conflict, when you do have conflict, is that you aren't listening and respecting each other's differences and then using it against, fighting with each other
Right.
consistently without making any efforts to change. And the other idea of unhealthy conflict is that you're not even working on it alone. You're working on it alone, you're not working it together.
Right.
Conflict is okay, it's not a scary thing. Is it fun? Hell no. Is it easy? Hell no. Is it hard? Of course.
Right.
It doesn't mean that something is wrong with your marriage because you have an argument or two or many, let's be real, over
Right.
big things and small things. It just means that maybe the system at play needs to be tweaked and listened to a little more and paid attention to. It's the same thing that we would say about anxiety, right? When someone has anxiety, it's their system screaming, saying,
Right.
hey, pay attention. So when you're having conflict, it's the system of the home going, hey, excuse me, someone feels unmet needs, someone is struggling with something, someone's having a hard day. The suggestion I would give is that if you have having conflict, again, I have two chapters, one called Pillow Talk 2.0, which is basic
Hmm.
communication, and Love and War, which is the conflict chapter. And but the simple thing I would just say is have more curiosity. When you're having so much conflict, keep asking, what's going on? Are you okay? Versus what the hell is wrong with you? Why are you keep doing this? Take away the
Right.
judgment and ask curiosity, because then at least it opens a door with kindness versus shutting someone down, feeling judged and stupid and small for having feelings and big emotions.
And I love how you, like, for those of you listening, like, this book really breaks it down. I mean, you get very specific examples and like deconstructive statements versus constructive statements, how to respond. I mean, you really do get into the details, which I love because a lot of times these theories and concepts are overwhelming and like
Yeah.
sometimes obvious, like, okay, yeah, great, but then how do you do that? So
It's
I,
like the classic Dale Carnegie, right, with his book of
yeah,
How to Win Friends and Influence People. And his biggest thing is smile when you talk, and everyone goes, okay, but there isn't any practical advice or why that helps. It's just like, just smile when someone talks to you, and you're like, oh, I do that already. I don't know, it's not working. It doesn't give any practical help. So
right.
that's the goal of the book.
Yeah, I love that. You write about how resentment builds quietly. What are the early signs that a couple is drifting before they even realize it? So, like, if someone's listening, like, how can they sort of like see the forest, through the trees?
Beyond the trees, yeah. So resentment is a very silent killer of relationships for some people. For some people, it's very loud conflict, right? They're just yelling and screaming at
Mhm.
each other. But for the people that it's silent, it's the idea that you feel a lot of distance and space. It's like that
Mhm.
roommate, feeling of like we're just passing amongst each other, and it's this unsaid strain. or tension that feels like something's not being dealt with here, but one of us doesn't want to talk about it. One of us doesn't know what's happening. The other person is not ready to say it. And it's this feeling of like, what's happening here? Something feels off. Feeling off is fine. Now, I get pushback on this because people are like, but people have trauma and past things that they're picking up and reading into things. Okay,
Hmm.
you might be, but it still helps to ask and check in, even if you're wrong. Why have the risk of not asking and then
Right.
it getting worse? You could be
Wait,
wrong.
so you
Great,
get
take
pushed
that
back.
risk.
Explain that to me. You get pushed back and
People nagging, like asking, checking in.
got it.
Hey, how are you doing? Sorry, my ADHD brain. I said half a sentence when the other sentence was staying already. It's this idea of like you ask these questions, like checking in. Hey, how you doing? You okay? You seem off. Ellie, stop. I'm just tired. Stop it. Okay, now I know. Right? But
Right.
sometimes you're right. So isn't it worth the risk to ask? Because when you are right, you can actually do something about it.
Yes,
Versus,
yes.
oh my gosh, you're so freaking annoying. Okay, I'd rather be annoying, making sure we're okay, versus not talking about it and then it blowing up in our faces 6 months, a
For
year, two
sure.
years later, because no one ever asked and just assumed everything was fine or it's just in my head.
Right. Yes. And I think that's just a part of communication, though, that you can also communicate, hey, I don't want to be annoying and keep asking, but I want you to know that I care.
Yeah, love that.
Right.
Yes, exactly.
Um, for listeners who feel like they've become more logistical than emotional in their marriage, just running the house, raising the kids, handling life, where do you tell them to start reconnecting? Because I do think that happens, right? We just get
Hmm.
into the groove and we're just making shit happen.
Yeah.
Um, how do you advise people there?
Yeah, so I have two things. One, I call it the check-in, like I
Mm,
just said, but the check-in is a combo of things. It's the logistical conversation, like, hey, what's happening tomorrow? Who's doing carpool? Who's doing dinner? The in-laws are coming. What are we going to plan? All those kind of things. That's fine. Now, you could do the check-in once a week. I like to do it either at nighttime before bed because, like, let's be real, I'm probably just scrolling and not paying attention anyways to life. So if I just
mhm,
stop that 10 to 15 minutes earlier and just turn over to my wife and check in, and there's a two-way thing, right? So we ask, what's happening tomorrow? So that helps with like any conflict with, I told you 3 weeks ago, how come you don't remember? Because I don't remember what happened yesterday. So I might as well just check in and make sure. The two other questions are the emotional questions, which is, what do you need from me tomorrow?
mhm.
Right? Can I help in ways that aren't on the logistic checklist of the daily thing? And the other thing is, what do you need? What do you need for yourself? What individual things? Oh, I would like to go to the gym. I'd really like 10 minutes just to have quiet in the morning so I can have my coffee in peace. Or I really would love to just go for a walk with the dog. That really mean a lot to me. So that's the first thing. The second thing I would say is start very small. Everyone's trying to do these like home run, big firework experiences to make people feel love. And that's wonderful. If you can, please do it. But if you can't, don't just stop trying. So do small things, whether it's a secret handshake, whether it's a squeeze of a tushy, whether it's a kiss on the forehead, whether it's a secret word that you guys have that says, hey, I'm thinking about you. I love you. I just want you to know that you're on my mind. Whether it's a
Mhm.
cute little text or a little post it note, something that is small and connecting, that is practical, that makes the person feel like, oh, it is me. Like the idea of going to the supermarket and getting their favorite snack and going, hey, I thought of you. I want you to, here's a snack for you, right? Whether it's whatever it is, do those small things. Don't just forget about those things and make them, because small things can have very big impact in a very, very loving, fulfilling way. So don't forget about those small things.
Do you feel like people typically stop doing that stuff over time, like most
Yeah, it gets
couples?
tiring. It's like, oh my gosh, I have to do this. I have to buy them flowers again. Or like, who really cares about this stuff? Like, I have so much to do. I can't. Yes, you can. The
Mhm.
reason why I focus on the small things is that they don't take a lot of time. They
Right.
are easy to do. It takes 10 seconds to a minute to write a little note or to go past your wife and give them a little tushy squeeze and say I love you, or someone give a high five. I started doing this thing lately where when I walk into a room, my wife's there, I go, oh look, it's my wife. Why? Because I'm trying to be a silly annoying person, but also it's just so that she knows that I'm excited to see her, because I am.
Mm.
Versus just walking in and going, hey, how's your day, or not say anything and walk past and go to the bathroom or do my thing. It's this very, it takes how long? 3 seconds, not even to just say, look, there you are. So nice to see you. How are you doing? It's this excitement, this energy that I'm trying to actively do. And these small things need to be active. And that's the only way to keep the love alive, is to be active in everything you do and choose that every day to make sure that you are on for your person as much as you can.
And the to the point of your book, I think those things become a little more laborious once you've had children, because you've
Hmm.
got more people pulling at you, more things that need to be done. So I think, at least in my own experience, it is something that you have to make time for and make an effort to do.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
So, my last question, and then we'll see if anybody else has any questions, is what do you hope someone reading this book walks away understanding differently about marriage, especially during the hardest seasons?
Yeah, the biggest thing is that you're not, two things. One, you're not alone. Like, I'm writing a
Mhm.
lot of stories that are even current or past, or even client stories that are a mix and match of current and past things. That you're not alone in this struggle. Every parent goes through it, that you feel lost within your relationship, and that there is a natural change, and there's nothing wrong with you or your marriage just because there is a change. The second thing I would add is a lot of people beat themselves up about the fact that they are struggling with their
Mm,
relationships. And something that I say probably multiple times in the book is the idea that it's not about perfection, it's about presence and showing up. And it's a skill. It's a skill to learn these things. It's not just a, oh my gosh, I should have known this. Someone should have told me. Should have been born this way. No, relationships are skills that you need to learn. And if you have not learned them or never learned to adjust and pivot them to this state of life, the skills won't apply. It will not be something successful. So if you find one skill, one tip, and I have these boxes of different things to practice, and something, a one liner or something that really feels good to you, start it, do it, try
mm.
it. Don't just give up, and don't just say, well, I don't know how to do this. So, no, it's a skill you have to keep practicing and mixing and matching to make sure it works for your marriage, your relationship, your partnership, and it works for both of you to have that daily choice of with each other, for each other, about each other, so that the unit in the home just gets stronger and stronger together.
Two quick comments. One, in addition to learning the skill, I also think there's some unlearning that often has to happen for marriages to be successful, because we all grew up in a home,
100%.
maybe healthy, maybe not. Maybe our role models were healthy, maybe not.
Yeah.
So, what do you think about that?
So something that I have in the book, I think it's in the back of the book also, it's an appendix, like a worksheet.
Hmm.
And people haven't been doing this, but if you pre-order the book, I can send you a survival kit that I have also with a lot of worksheets in there too. Um, and it's called the import-export list. It's a way to sit down and look through the values of things that have been in your family, in your culture,
Hmm.
in your religious beliefs, in your, what hopes and things that you want in your relationship unit, and things that you want to export. So import and export. And
I
it's not a
love that.
judgmental thing. It's literally something that someone told me when my wife and I were dating, and my wife still has the list in her wallet. And every anniversary we go through it. We
Oh,
have updated
wow.
it, and it's a different piece of paper now because living in the city versus living in Queens versus living with my parents to save money for a house to then moving to Vegas and having one, two, and now a third kid. Life changing, structuring
Yep.
changing, things are changing. It's good to revisit it and go, hey, what do we want to import into our home? What
Mm.
is a value system or a style or a thing that we like? And what are some things that, like, I put on the export was like no slamming doors. It brings me back to a bad headspace of my childhood. I don't like it. Okay, what's import? We want to be able to have an open home. So what does that mean? It creates a conversation piece that you guys can keep adjusting, keep talking about it, and then you can be aware of maybe some things, again, non-judgmental, of things that you see about the other person's family that you don't want to have in either,
Mm.
of the import or the export of like, yeah, when your parents do that, it really makes me uncomfortable. Oh yeah, I totally agree with you. I hate that. Oh, I didn't know you hated it too. Great, we're putting it on the export, and it can
Right.
create a good conversation piece for be able to understand where everyone's at and what they're bringing into the unit.
I love that, the import export. And my final question is, if someone's listening, is there one, because you talk a lot about skills, is there one skill or one exercise? Is there something that they can start tonight, today, that's simple, easy, but could be impactful?
Yeah, so the check-in one that I said earlier is definitely my go-to one. The other one that I would suggest is what I call the huddle. Like again, sports. Like if you feel thrown off by something with kids, which is like
Hmm.
every day. Don't just assume that you know how anyone else is going to deal with it or how they're going to handle it. But if you really want to make sure you're on the same team, like turn away, like, okay, one, two, three, and you huddle, you make a plan, and you go at it. Versus going off the handle, upsetting people, making it all very overwhelming would be another one I would say. And there are so many, like literally every chapter has one or two or three. So it's very hard. But the check-in one's my favorite because it's so simple. It takes five,
Yeah,
10 minutes. It's something so attainable and so easy to do.
I love that. Do you know offhand what page that's on?
I do not. I think in the back in the index,
Yep.
I had them bold all the different pages with tips on it. Hopefully,
Yep. Okay.
things get sent in an email that hopefully it gets done, but it doesn't mean
Oh,
that
and I
it.
love your acknowledgments. So cute.
Oh yeah, I wrote a lot of different things. If this is my only book, which hopefully it isn't, um, I had to put as much as I could in the acknowledgments.
Oh, you went to Fordham?
Yeah, I did.
My brother went to Fordham.
Oh, I love Fordham.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I don't think we have any questions. So I really want to thank you for sending me the book and also for coming on. I am a huge fan of this and will
Thank
be
you.
telling all the couples I know. Also, before you have kids, you should read this. Get your
Yes.
shit buttoned up before you get
Yes.
into this position.
Yes.
But thank
Don't
you
wait
so
till it's too
much.
late. Don't wait till it's too late. It doesn't mean
Absolutely.
I had a lot of friends texting me like, my wife is freaked out because your book came in the mail. And my wife's like, is everything okay? Yeah, I just want to support my friend. But even
Yeah.
if you buy it, here's my thought process on self-help books or mental health books. The whole thing might not be for you. That's okay. But there might be a chapter or a tip or a tool or a story that really speaks to you. And that can help you so much. So don't give up on the book or not try the book just because it's not the perfect algorithmic book for you. Have patience, see what it can do for you, and don't wait till you're in the struggle to start reading the book. Read it
And there's
beforehand.
no couple that wouldn't benefit from the check-in.
No
So
couple.
that alone,
Exactly.
that's impossible. Well, thank you so much. I will put your book and everything in the show notes. If somebody was listening and they want to find you or reach out to you, how can they do so?
You go to my website, LCSW.com, or go to my Instagram, _LCSW. DM me, email me, please. Ask your questions. I'm here to help as much as I can.
Awesome. And if you joined us today on Cake for Dinner Live, thank you so much. We are here every Wednesday at noon Eastern Standard Time with a different author. So we will see you next week.